Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more Lone Wolf. And today, well, technically it's after midnight, so a little bit earlier, almost 13 hours ago when I wasn't able to record, the crowdfunding campaign did launch for the board game. And I've been looking forward to the miniature skirmish game a lot. This isn't it, but it does seem to use a lot of the same sculpts that we've seen already. So I saw the miniature skirmish game at the last Fighting Fantasy Fest, and I'd been spending a good few years on the email list, waiting for news, scouring the newsletters every time they came out. Because I liked the sculpts, I liked what they were doing, I liked the concept of playing specific key encounters from the gamebook series, possibly with a bit of a twist from time to time, right? And when I got to see it, I saw a skirmish game. I think there was a battle map with a hex grid, a couple of young Kai monks, some Gaiacs, I think there was a Dracarim, possibly even a Magician of the Crystal Star. Very much Lone Wolf meeting Barnadon in the forest in Book 1, which is a completely avoidable encounter that you can blatantly miss, by the way. This is not that game. This is an area control game similar to Risk, in which the good armies and the Darklords fight over Magnamund. The Darklords try to take everything over, corrupt it, gain nasty allies. Apparently it's like Star Wars Rebellion or War of the Ring, which I haven't played either, which apparently are also a bit like Risk, which I haven't played, but I was coerced into playing a Renaissance-era version recently, based around Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King, Martin Luther nailing up his theses on the church door in Wittenberg, and then, creating the Protestant church and translating the Bible from Latin into English. And all of the wars that were going on in Europe at that time. 215 miniatures, but they're not all going to be full size. They're going to be like little worker miniatures and big boss miniatures and stuff. A bit like another game I've seen recently. This is a beautiful piece of artwork, by the way. Probably relates to book 11 or 12, I'm not sure. There's only 2 pledge levels. One, you get the game. The other one, you get 6 copies of the game to sell in a shop. Or if you got 6 mates and want to go in half price each, it's a really good deal, but that's a pretty big commitment for 6 people to bundle in when they can all just play 1 copy together or something. Or 2 or 3 copies, We got some stretch goals and things going on. It literally only launched yesterday, so there's not much yet. Extra add-on for the Lone Wolf miniature was included as a freebie. This is Flight from the Dark Lone Wolf, not Later Lone Wolf, because that is not the Sommerswerd. That's like the short sword, isn't it, from the first 5 books. This was included as a freebie for people who followed the campaign beforehand, like I did, so I don't need to add it. We got a video trailer down here, which I haven't watched yet. So here, yeah, this is the same world, this is the same overall storyline as the game books, but varied, right? And it's probably got lots of tiny little cardboard tokens to track hundreds of thousands of things. The start setup is a little bit randomized. For instance, the Darklords randomize which Darklords they start with. That looks like Flight from a Dark minimap. So you got the Darklords trying to take over the world and destroy and corrupt everything. You've got the few good armies trying to survive. And then somewhere on the side of the board, you've got Lone Wolf, who is playing the gamebook series. Right? Literally turn 1, he is playing Flight from the Dark, trying to escape from the Kai monastery to get down to Holmgard to warn the king that all the other Kai monks have been killed and he is the only one left. And then he'll try to do Fire on the Water, then Caverns of Cult, then Book 4, which isn't Shadow on the Sands, Book 5 is Shadow on the Sands, Book 4 is the Macon Gorge one, the Chasm of Doom or something. And then he'll go on to the Magnakai series. And essentially, in terms of the grand scale this is operating on, Lone Wolf is doing 1 book a turn, right? There is a mechanism that he can use to try and complete 2 books in a turn, but he risks becoming so badly wounded he needs to sit out the next turn and can't do any quests at all. And so essentially, as he completes quests in the Kai and the Magnakai series, he becomes more powerful and begins to turn the tide and sway the balance of power against the Darklords, until eventually he may be able to defeat them with the aid of the good nations who are fighting for their freedom. Lots of nice sculpts. 20 mil scale, not 25 or 30. That's a lot of vaqueros. Okay. So these are all too small to use in a regular game and too big to use in a sort of epic scale 10 mil game. So these are pretty much just for this board game, but they might be scaled up for the miniature game later on, right? The cavalry, I'm not quite sure. They look a little bit too modern and mongoose era and not quite medieval enough, these cavalry. These archers and foot soldiers look more sort of appropriate for Magnamund. There's also miniatures for the bad guys, for example. Do we get a look at those as well? We get lots of tokens and cards. Yeah, we get things for bad guys. The Cena Druids, who don't really get involved in the first 12 books. They come in somewhere in the later books, but they wanted to get them in the board game, so there we go. The Doom Wolves. Oh, that looks a bit more horrific than you'd expect. Kran. Gyaks. Real goblin-looking Gyaks. Trying to go for the Gyaks here instead of Gyaks. These Ironclads, they feature in one of the Mongoose novels where the Drakarim captured dwarven engineers and forced them to build giant metal ships with loads of guns on and then bombard a city from about 50 miles away in a ridiculously modern sort of World War I siege thing. And the heroes do fuck all and are useless and meet the bad guy and get beaten up by him and run away and get rescued by the dwarfs who turn up right at the end and finally make an appearance in the book. Not the dwarfs who built the ships, they were put to death by the Drakarim. The Drakarim in that book are a bit too two-dimensional, and it was obviously set up to be the first one of a trilogy, but it was just doom and gloom the whole way through, and it was just too much gunpowder, really, for a non-Borees nation. It felt completely wrong. Death Hulks, that's like book 2 stuff, isn't it? Got Vordax, no Helghasts, interestingly. Because Helghasts don't operate, they're more like spies, aren't they? They operate very specifically. I have to get a close look at that Drakarim to see if the skull helmet looks good. But anyway, yeah, it all looks very nice and tempting with lots of things. I've backed it because, hey, even if I don't enjoy it massively, I'll probably enjoy it a bit, give it a bit of an outing, and it will help fund the game I'm actually wanting to buy. You know. And I can probably sell it off secondhand if I really dislike it. We've got some nice close-ups on figures here. That's a sleeve. Are those male links going... Those male links are going the wrong way for a sleeve. They're going the right way for a body section, but they go out from a body. So that's a bit weird. Wait. The archer... Again, male links may be going the wrong way. They're definitely going the wrong way on the legs. Are they? Wait. No, because you do row, 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 row your boat gently down the stream. Okay, no, they are correct on the legs, I think, just not necessarily... I'll have to take a close look at the arms later on. Got a Dwarven Gunner of Boar, lots of scale mail here, lots of armour. Gun looks a little techno, but that's okay. Vaqueros Warrior Mage. We don't know from what... It looks like he's supposed to be some lending with the sun heraldry. Skyship. That's a dwarven ship, that is. Oh, wait, no, because it doesn't have the balloon. This is a different ship. I'm not sure then. That's like a wizard's ship? Wait, is it? No, because the Skyship is Barnadon's ship, isn't it? Got a beautiful naval ship there. That is nice. That is very nice. Very, very high on the no, the forecastle's at the front, isn't it? What's the rear one? Oh, never mind. That is a goblin-style Gaiac, not an orc-style Gaiac. So that's like a Book 2 style Gaiac as opposed to a Book 1 style Gaiac or Book 9. The Dracarim, the flat back on the helmet with no sort of room for a skull inside it is a bit sort of, it goes straight up the neck in a very straight line. That's a bit odd. It's a bit light on the armor, actually. I'm not sure this quite feels right. Okay, there's our Vordak. Cena Druid. Generic undead character. That is really thin on the back end of the head. And the Kran is meant to be pretty big. We got a rulebook. The link to the rulebook was broken when the campaign launched. It should be fixed the next day. So basically when this video is up, that link should work. Not going to click it now and find out. Lots of nice things here. Well, basic overview, And they'll keep adding stuff as the campaign goes on. There's lots of videos from people who have blatantly been encouraged, possibly financially encouraged, to promote the product. And that might be okay, as long as they don't blatantly do it too badly. Oh, that looks almost like the comic, the Skull of Agarash, almost. Werlen Wolf looked more like He-Man, almost. The classic Sommerswerd, the Lore Stones, everything, all the good stuff. Yeah. Some useful stuff here in case... What the fuck is that? I'm sorry, that's human proportions. That's not dwarf proportions. The limbs are... No dwarfism. The limbs are too long. That's a midget, not a dwarf. Freelands, yeah. The Darklands. All the nasty stuff. This art style works for a board game. I don't think it would look good in the game books. Yep. He doesn't look very Vasagonian. He doesn't even have a turban or anything. Vonotar the Traitor. Yeah, we'll be getting onto him soon enough. Don't worry. Some stuff about the people who made it. This chap here, I think, is the one who's making the miniature game that I am looking forwards to. And so I really hope this goes well. Jonathan Stark. Why does that sound... Is he like a really important character in Game of Thrones or something? Oh no, Snow. Yeah. Ha! Stark. Okay, fair enough. But it could literally be the guy's name. So, getting back to business here, we're going to begin Fire on the Water, the second book in the series. And I'm just going to launch right into it, because I told you how much I love the series first time round. Don't need to tell you again. If you didn't watch the first video, I love this series, okay? And if you want to know how much, go back and watch the first one. In the northern land of Sommerlund, it has been the custom for many centuries to send the children of the warrior lords to the monastery of Kai. There they are taught the skills and disciplines of their noble fathers. In olden times, during the age of the Black Moon, the Darklords waged war on Sommerlund. The conflict was a long and bitter trial of strength that ended in victory for the Somlending at the great battle of Gorge. King Ulnar and the allies of Durenor broke the Darkland armies at the pass of Moichura and forced them back into the bottomless abyss of Gorge. Vashna, mightiest of the Darklords, was slain upon the sword of King Ulnar, called Sommerswerd, the sword of the sun. Since that age, the Darklords have vowed vengeance upon Sommerlund and the house of Ulnar. You are Lone Wolf, a young Kai initiate who has learned the secret skills of the Kai Lord. Who was learning the secret skills of the Kai Lords. 2 days ago, your peaceful country was plunged into war when a vast Darklord army suddenly invaded Sommerlund and completely destroyed the Kai monastery. All the Kai Lords were in attendance for the Feast of Fairman, and all were killed as the monastery was surrounded and destroyed, the walls collapsing in on the assembling company. You, the only Kai Lord to survive the massacre, vowed then to avenge their deaths. You knew your first task had to be to warn the king, for without the Kai Lords to lead her armies, your country, Sommerlund, would be unable to mobilize in time to drive the Darklords back. Your journey to the capital was perilous indeed. The enemy had overrun much of the country and were marching upon Holmgard, the capital itself, but despite the many dangers, you fought your way through to the capital and delivered your warning to the king's court. There you were greatly praised for your skill and bravery, but told your mission was not complete. With the Kai Lords dead, there remained only one power in all of Magnamund that could save your people from the Darklords, the Sommerswerd. After the defeat of Vashna, the Sommerswerd has been bestowed upon the allies of Durenor as a mark of trust and allegiance that existed between the two kingdoms. In return, King Alin of Durenor gave Sommerlund a magnificent golden ring bearing the royal arms of Durenor. This ring is known as the Seal of Hammerdal. At that time, King Alin vowed that if ever the shadow of the west would rise again to threaten Sommerlund, Durenor would come to the aid of her ally. The king has given you the Seal of Hammerdal. Your quest is to travel to Durenor to fetch the Sommerswerd back. But meanwhile, the enemy have broken through the outer defences of the capital and are preparing to besiege the city wall. As Captain Deval of the King's Guard leads you to the royal armory to equip you for your mission, the king's words keep coming back to you. 40 days, Lone Wolf. We have strength to stand against them for only 40 days. So we have a time limit. Game rules. We've gone over these in the first book. If you have successfully completed Book 1 of the Lone Wolf series, you will already have your combat skill and endurance points and Kai disciplines, which you can now carry over with you to Book 2, and a 6th one for completing Book 1. You may also carry over any items and any weapons and special items that you held at the end of Book 1, and these should be entered on your new action chart. You are still limited to 2 weapons and 8 backpack items. Through your experiences in Book 1, you have learned new skills and may choose 1 extra Kai discipline to add to your action chart. Now read the section on equipment for Book 2 carefully. Essentially, we have all 10 of the skills. Yes, I've written the other 5 here so that I can talk through them. We've been learning these 5 skills. We just haven't mastered them yet to the level where they will significantly impact our adventures. Over the centuries, the Kai monks have mastered the skills of the warrior. These skills are known as the Kai disciplines, and they are taught to all Kai Lords. You have learnt only 5 of the skills listed below. The choice of which 5 skills these are is for you to make. As all the disciplines may be of use to you at some point on your perilous quest, pick your 5 with care. The correct use of a discipline at the right time can save your life. When you have chosen your 5 disciplines... we have 5 already. Oops, there we go. So, camouflage. This skill enables a Kai Lord to blend in with his surroundings. In the countryside, he can hide undetected among trees and rocks and pass close to an enemy without being seen. In a town or city, it enables him to look and sound like a native of that area and can help him find shelter or a safe hiding place. Hunting. This skill ensures that a Kai Lord will never starve in the wild. He will always be able to hunt for food for himself, except in areas of wasteland and desert. The skill also enables a Kai Lord to be able to move more stealthily when stalking his prey. So, camouflage and hunting have a link. They both have a stealth element. We have weapon skill. Upon entering the Kai Monastery, each initiate is taught to master one type of weapon. If weapon skill is one of your Kai disciplines, pick a number in the usual way from a random number table, then find the corresponding weapon from the list below. This is the weapon in which you have skill. When you enter combat carrying this weapon, you may add 2 points to your combat skill. Although it is extremely random, as 1, 2, 3, 4 swords on the list though, so not entirely random. The fact that you are skilled with a weapon does not mean you can set out your adventure carrying that particular weapon. However, you will have opportunities to acquire weapons in the course of your adventures. You cannot carry more than 2 weapons. Mind Blast. This enables a Kai Lord to attack an enemy using the force of his mind. It can be used at the same time as normal combat weapons, and adds 2 extra points to your combat skill. Not all the creatures encountered on this adventure will be harmed by Mind Blast. You will be told if a creature is immune. And finally, Mind over Matter. Mastery of this discipline enables a Kai Lord to move small objects with his powers of concentration. Now, what do we want? Well, all of these are good. Some may be more useful to us than others. We do have a high combat skill, so weapon skill and Mind Blast are somewhat less valuable to us. I'm just remembering that enemy Mind Blast works differently in the Mongoose reprints, where it does 2 points of damage to you per round, as opposed to the -2 combat skill penalty that it normally imparts, which is quite nasty. So, camouflage, great. We are going into a foreign country where there may be enemy agents trying to stop us, not necessarily natives, but who have infiltrated that country. In a town or city, it enables him to look and sound like a native of that area and can help him find shelter or a safe hiding place. Being able to blend in with the population when we are going on a mission through that country would be very useful. Hunting. We're going to want hunting by the start of book 3. So if we don't take hunting now, we're taking it at the end of this book, right? And we want Mind over Matter for book 4 or 5, if my memory holds correct. So I am going to take camouflage. Camouflage, hunting, and animal kinship would all be quite useful here. But we have animal kinship already, and we didn't necessarily need it very much in book 1 because of the path we chose. Okay, mouse wheel's going a bit and might need to change batteries. Right, equipment. Guard Captain Duval leads you to the Royal Armoury, where your green tunic and Kai cloak are taken from you to be repaired and cleaned. While you await their return, Captain Duval hands you a pouch of gold for your journey. To find out how much gold is in the pouch, pick a random number from the random number table. Add 10 to the number you have picked. You know what? Here we go. 1d10. Bosh. 18. We now have 38 gold crowns, which is quite a lot. We have not yet been instructed to add the Seal of Hammerdal, but I think I'll just do that now. I presume it's a special item. I'll do it after this. On a large table in the centre of the armoury, a number of items have been laid out for your choice. You may take any 2 of the following. Because presumably if we carry too much, it'll be obvious we're carrying a great big bundle of equipment. So a sword, a short sword, 2 meals counts as 1 item. Chainmail waistcoat, special items, adds 4 endurance points to your total. Looks great. A mace, a healing potion, a spear, a staff, a shield, and a broadsword. Okay. 2 meals would be very nice. But I will take the mail shirt. Practically, it's a bit less than a Bernie, right? I'll just go for EP. We know it's endurance points. And I will take the shield because we don't get many options to gain a shield later on. So we now have an effective combat skill of 21, and obviously cannot use 2 weapons at once, and 26 endurance points. For some reason, the armor is adding endurance points because we can take more damage when we get hit. And the shield allows us to be more aggressive in combat because we have the confidence of its protection to, you know, cover our sword arm as we strike out. Well, our axe arm, we got what, a axe and a sword. Okay, we could use the sword. We'll see. Yeah. How to carry equipment, fairly commonplace, common sense. Food. We will be looking to purchase food, obviously, as we have none. Blimey. Okay. We have money, food. We do not yet have the discipline of hunting. Combat rules are the same as the previous book. We are no longer an initiate, we are now an aspirant. We are aspiring to the rank of Guardian or Warman, you know, up to Master, right? No, we have no, I'm adding it now then. We have not been instructed, so the Seal of Hammerdal. Your mission will be one of great danger, for the Darklords and their servants are a cruel and fierce enemy who give and expect no mercy. Use the map to help you steer a correct course for the capital. Make notes as you progress through the story, for they will be of great help in future adventures. Many things that you find will aid you during the adventure. Some special items will be of use in future Lone Wolf adventures, and others may be red herrings of no real use at all, so be selective in what you decide to keep. There are many routes to Hammerdal, but only one will enable you to retrieve the Sommerswerd and return to Sommerlund with the minimum of danger. A wise choice of Kai disciplines and a great deal of courage will enable any player to complete the mission, no matter how weak their initial combat skill or endurance score. So, for instance, it could be argued that we could get away without choosing the shield and take 2 meals and the chainmail waistcoat. We take the armor because we have low endurance, we have high combat skills, so we don't really need to boost it any further, but there are some tough fights in this book. The fate of your country hangs on the success of your perilous quest. Good luck. Now, let's do it and hope we don't starve. In theory, because we have the healing discipline and get back 1 point a section, we can starve 3 points and build it back up again as long as the meals don't come too thick and fast. Captain Duval and his guards escort you to the citadel gate, where a small covered wagon awaits you. As soon as you clamber in, the gates are thrown open and you are hurried away through the crowded streets of Holmgard. After a short but uncomfortable journey, the wagon stops and the driver pulls open the canvas flap. "This is the key, my lord. There is your ship, the Green Sceptre." As he speaks, the driver points across the quay to a sleek trade caravel anchored near to the harbour wall. "The first mate's name is Ronan. You will find him waiting for you across the square at the Good Cheer Inn." Then the driver bids you farewell and quickly disappears into the teeming crowds. You reach the inn to find the front doors locked and the window shutters barred. You are trying to decide what to do next when a hand grabs your arm and you are pulled into the darkness. We could draw a weapon and attack the unknown assailant, or pull free of his grasp. We can... Okay, it's just a... We don't get a bigger view of that small filler picture. Pull free and turn around like, oh, because it could be anyone. We don't know. Lashing out is not ideal. Let's pull free, turn, look, have a better idea who we're dealing with. Forgive me, my lord. I do not mean to startle you. The man seems nervous, and the open hand that is extended towards you is shaking quite visibly. With some caution, you accept the gesture of friendship and sit with the man at a tavern table. Wait, but the doors are barred, and... Does he let us in, or is it a different tavern? The window shutters are barred, the doors were locked. The place is deserted, save for a couple of mice gnawing at a large chunk of cheese. Well, they do want to keep this secret so the Darklords' spies don't find out about it. Captain Kelman has instructed me to take you to the Green Sceptre, but only if I am sure that you are the Kai Lord they call Lone Wolf. Can you prove your identity? You decide you must show your mastery of one of your Kai disciplines. We can demonstrate healing, mind blast, weapon skill, animal kinship, mind over matter, or we could decide we don't have any of those. Healing... Would we have to hurt someone, like him or ourselves first? Like put our hand in the candle and then bandage it up to show that we know first aid in a candle flame? Mind blast we don't have. Weapon skill we don't have. Animal kinship we have. That could be fun. There's a couple of mice, right? Feeling hungry, you say, peering at the two busy house mice in the far corner. Perhaps you would care for some cheese. Using your Kai discipline, you order the two mice to bring the cheese to you. The sailor looks on in amazement as the two furry creatures deposit the cheese at your feet and then scurry away. You are indeed a Kai Lord, says the sailor, but the astonishment on his face quickly changes. Oh, you are indeed a Kai Lord, says the sailor, but the astonishment on his face quickly changes to an unpleasant sneer. Or I should say, you were. As he speaks, a door crashes open behind you and you turn to see 3 harbour thugs advancing towards you. Each is armed with a scimitar and you have no choice but to fight all 3 as one enemy. The 3 harbour thugs combined have a combat skill of 16 and 25 endurance. Okay, we got Big Fatty, Baldy, and weird short hair on top but long at the sides, like so it looks like he's got a brush on top of his head. I see scimitars. You couldn't... Well, they're more like falchions, really, but they're pretty nasty. I like the slashed shoes. Very sort of Renaissance vibe, but still a bit medieval as well. He's got... I'm going to presume... That could be metal scales. It looks more like leather scales, which isn't much by way of armour. There's a dagger in this sash. So he's got a backup weapon. They look like they mean business. This one in particular looks rather mean. So, the Harbour Thugs have a combat skill of 16. You know what I'm going to do? Table of contents. Let's get the combat results table open. There we go. So 16. We are in the +5 column. Fearless at the bottom was a theoretical list of how I would plan out my disciplines over the course of the entire series, but I think I've done enough at the beginning of this book. +5, and they have 25 endurance points. Okay. Let's fight these thugs. Round 1. Fight! Oh, we rolled a 3, but we're in +5, so it's pretty good. Lone Wolf loses 3 endurance, the enemy loses 8. So we've lost most of the benefit of our mail shirt. But down to 17 there. We struggle on. I mean, there's 3 of them, right? We got to... The thing about fighting multiple opponents is you can't just focus all your attacks on one of them, because you'll get hit a lot. You need to fend them all off. I mean, unless you're like a berserker, in which case you just take the hits and go for it. +5, so Lone Wolf takes 4 damage, enemy takes 6. So they're down to 11. I'd say they're like clobbering him with blunt things like a bar stool and stuff, but they got swords. So this is proper weapon fighting. He does have a shield. He does have armor. He's not yet... Okay, so he's not yet used to using the shield. I mean, he's trained a bit with shields, but he's not fully necessarily covering... I mean, he's like, you know, covering his body, but kind of holding the shield a bit static, not moving it around enough, and not covering his weapon arm as he attacks. And then for the armor, he's literally holding the shield in front of the armor, so it's not really protecting him that much. But he'll get better. 7. Ooh. Enemy loses 12 endurance, Lone Wolf loses none. And he finishes them all off with their 11 remaining endurance points. Nice. You may evade after 2 rounds of combat by running through the side door. Yeah, but we didn't do that, because I didn't read that. If you win this combat, we absolutely did, and it's a non-combat section, so we will regain a point of health back up to 20. The sailor who claimed to be First Mate Ronan seems to have escaped during the fight. You quickly search for bodies of the harbour thugs, but find nothing of value. However, you do notice that each of them has a tattoo of a serpent on their left wrist. Whoever sent them to kill you must already know of the importance of your quest. You leave the tavern by the side door and discover the dead body of a sailor lying beneath some stairs. Inside the collar of his blood-stained jacket is a tag bearing the name Ronan. This must be the real Ronan. He has been murdered. You cover the body and turn towards the quay where the green sceptre is anchored about 300 yards from the harbour wall. We could use one of the many small boats or coracles that are roped up to the quayside to row out to the, or paddle out to the ship. Or we could spend some time hunting down the imposter who pretended to be Ronan. Let's do that. You quickly deduce that the imposter must have escaped by the main entrance to the tavern, and that he is still in the harbour area, and that if he is still in the harbour area, he must be in or around the main square. You search for buildings and alleyways around the square, but there is no sign of him at all. Rather than waste any more time on a fruitless search, you return to the quayside and untie a small coracle from its mooring. As you row towards the green sceptre, you begin to feel uneasy that so early in your mission your enemies seem already to have found you. This is the same section we would have turned to otherwise, but we got a point of healing. So, we do not have 212 endurance points. That would be amazing. As you paddle towards the sleek trade caravel, you notice to your surprise that the boarding ladder is being pulled up. A mean-looking sailor leans over the gunwale and curses at you. He seems to think that you are a refugee trying to stow away on board, but when you shout that you are a Kai Lord, you were ambushed by an impostor at the tavern. The ladder is soon lowered again. As you climb over the side of the ship, you are met by a tall man in a gold-braided uniform. His face is almost totally covered by a shock of bright red hair and a bright red beard. "Haul anchor!" he booms. The crew spring into action as if their very lives depended on it. The captain ushers you below to his... That was more of a bark than a boom, wasn't it? But, you know, I'm close to the microphone, so you have to forgive me. The captain ushers you below to his cabin where he pours 2 glasses of Wanlo, a strong spirit. His face shows concern as you tell him what has happened. "There is evil treachery at work, and the enemy already has plans afoot to thwart your quest," he begins when you've told your tale. "It seems that you have lost the element of surprise, and that I have lost a courageous first mate. Let us only hope that the voyage to Durenor be swift and safe." You leave him to go up on deck just in time to see the outline of Holmgard on the horizon. With mixed feelings of pride and apprehension, you descend the stairway to your cabin as the last spire of the capital disappears from view. Pick a number from random number table. This is completely random. Now this is unusual that a game book would have a random roll for something so near the start. And this is Lone Wolf. We're not going to immediately lose if we don't roll the right number. This isn't Appointment with Fear. Appointment with Fear is a great old fighting fantasy classic book in which you play as a superhero. And you get to choose from a number of different special abilities, which, each of which will be good in certain situations and not so useful in others. And then, at the end of section 1, you roll a random die roll to see which series of events you will be playing through. And if you don't roll the one that matches the skills you chose, you are absolutely shafted pretty much. So it's pretty much one of the only 1 or 2 game books I know where you can literally lose to a random dice roll right at the beginning. It's one of the only 2 I think I know of where one of the very first choices in the book dooms you to a failed playthrough if you don't do a certain thing straight away. And I can't even remember what that other one is, so that's probably... what is it? Night... The Dead of Night? No, hang on. It's Spellbreaker, where you have to do a 5+ on a d6 random roll. Oh, it's like a 6+, but you can get a +1 bonus on it. You have to do a random roll near the beginning, and if you don't do that, you're massively disadvantaged for the rest of the book. It's just the odds are not great, So, random roll. So, this won't be... We won't miss anything vital in one of the sections we don't roll. It will be a random nature of the adventure. Different things and events could happen. So let's roll and see what we get. We get a 9. Okay. 99, nothing to do with red balloons. But it's a new section and we will go up to 22 endurance points. The following morning you are woken by a cry of the ship's lookout from high up on the crow's nest. "Ship ahoy off the port bow!" You clamber up a narrow ladder and join the captain at the stern. "Your eyes are younger than mine. See what you can make out of her, my lord," he says, and hands you an ornate telescope. You can make out the red sails and black flag of a Lakuri pirate warship on the horizon, and we pick a random number. Possibly to do with the direction the wind might be blowing. If they might be sailing to... Okay, we got a 4. The captain orders the crew to hoist all the sails and attempt to outrun the vessel, but the pirate ship is fast and is trying to cross the bows of the Green Scepter. A collision seems imminent. "Prepare to ram!" the captain cries as the side of the red-sailed warship looms up directly in the front of the prow. There is an enormous crack of splintered timber as the Green Scepter punctures a large hole in the side of the pirate ship, and you are thrown to the deck with a jolt. Well, it's better than them ramming us. That is pretty impressive looking armour. Very Elric of Melniboné. And yeah, it looked like Melnibone for years because most people didn't put the accent over the E, and I didn't know. As the pirates clamber aboard, you are horrified to see the black-clad shape of a Dracarim warrior in their midst. He has spotted you and is advancing towards you, a large broadsword raised above his head. You must fight him to the death. The Drakkar has combat skill 15 and endurance 25, so he is worth 3 thugs. So we are at +6. And that's okay. This is not a non-combat section, so we don't get to heal up to 23, so we might get wounded down again. Let's roll. So, this is not your archetypical Dracarim, right? They tend to have the book 9 sort of skull helms, very distinctive, but also, especially in the early books, they look very much like Chaos Warriors. Let's get this picture up and on screen because it looks awesome, right? Probably make that video thumbnail if I can, if I can get it big enough. Yeah. Okay. Let's fight the Dracarim. So they are like the the heartless, cruel, evil warriors of the Darklords armies. They definitely rank above Gaiax in terms of combat ability. We got an 8. That's great. That's actually really good. 8 in plus 6 is enemy takes 16 damage, Lone Wolf takes none. So after his fight with the thugs yesterday, Lone Wolf clearly sees this massive what's that? It starts with a T, bizarrely or not. It's no, it's not Turbuch, that's like a club. No, it's not a T, is it? It's an Italian style of helmet design that is similar to the Greek hoplite helm, but it's more of a T or Y-shaped visor slit, and he just sort of rams his sword in there, or gets it up under the man's armpit, or in the wrist, on the inside of the wrist as his arm's going down. Whatever it is, it's a really nasty blow. And we'll roll again. Oh, 10 is a 0, but on the combat table, it's a 10. Enemy takes 18 damage, and Lone Wolf takes none. The Dracarim only has 9, so he has been very effectively killed. Maybe it's the fact they're fighting on ship deck with broken boards and ropes and water spray up, and so unsure footing. The Dracarim might have slipped and left himself vulnerable because Lone Wolf downed him in 2 rounds. Excellent. As the Drakkar dies at your feet, the pirates falter at the sight of such a powerful warrior floored and then flee to their sinking ship. Captain Kelman rallies his crew and leads them against the retreating enemy, driving them into the water with the fury of the attack. The Green Scepter pulls free of the pirate ship, which keels heavily to starboard, because we rammed it. Our thanks, Kai Lord. The captain grasps your hand. We are proud and thankful to have you with us. A cheer resounds along the deck, and the crew voice their praise, and you regain a point of endurance because it's a non-combat section. Hooray! And that second wound we got from the thugs is now healed. Now we just got the 1 wound. It would be nice to consider doing it the Maelstrom. For Maelstrom role-playing game has a really nice way of tracking damage, right? Where you don't count damage down, you count it up, which makes total sense because it's the amount of damage you have. And you would go like this, right? You'd be like, I got hit for 4, 3, 7, which is 14, right? But then, every round of combat you fight, that you've taken, there are bleeding wounds and non-bleeding wounds. If it's a bleeding wound, let's say these are all bleeding wounds, you fight, all of them get worse by 1. So that 14 suddenly becomes 5, 4 and 8, 4, 17, right? So it gives you a strong incentive to stop fighting when you get seriously hurt. However, when you start to heal, naturally, every wound heals 1 per day. So that goes down to 4, 3, and 7, 14, right? So instead of having 1 big number and healing the same amount off it each day, what this means is, let's say 3 more days of resting, this goes down to a 4, this goes down to a 1, and this 3 is totally healed. At which point that is 5 points of damage, right? But so essentially what it means is, if you get lots of little wounds, it heals very quickly. If you get big wounds, they take longer to heal, which is a really nice way of doing things. You help tend the wounded whilst repairs are carried out to the damaged prow. Within an hour, the wind fills the sail, and you are back on course for Durenor once more. New section, new healing. After 3 uneventful days at sea, you find shipboard life rather dreary. If you have the Kai discipline of healing, any endurance points that you may have lost on your adventure so far are restored. All 2 of them. But we could have taken a major kicking fighting those 2 fights, so you never know. This will bring your endurance points score back to your original one. If you do not possess this skill, restore half of any points you have lost in combat. On the afternoon of the 4th day, you are talking with an injured sailor up on deck when you smell smoke seeping out of the hold. We could enter the hold to see where the smoke's coming from. Look, smoke coming out of any part of a ship that's not a steamship is a really bad sign. We could shout fire or warn the captain. If we shout fire, that'll pretty much alert the captain anyway, and the whole crew who can help deal with it. If we warn the captain, he'll have to mobilise the crew who might not have noticed yet. We'll raise the alarm. Suddenly, panic strikes. The ship is thrown into a frenzy of activity as sailors grab buckets and blankets with which to fight the fire. Flames are roaring through the hatch cover, and it takes over an hour to contain the blaze. The damage to the ship is great. The entire store of food and fresh water has been destroyed, and the midsection of the ship badly weakened. The captain appears from out of the smoking hold and approaches you, his face black with soot. He is carrying something in a bundle under his arm. "We must talk in private, my lord," he says quietly. Without replying, you turn and follow him to his cabin. After taking care to close his door, the captain opens the mysterious bundle and tips the contents onto his cabin table. A large charred earthenware jug and several blackened rags drop in a heap. They give off a strange oily smell. And here's Captain Kelman with his gold braid uniform. Interestingly, he doesn't have a moustache, just a beard in the mongoose, and no gold braid on his uniform, unfortunately. "This was no accidental fire," he says solemnly. "This was an act of sabotage. The forward hold is a food store, yet I find this oily jug and these soaked rags upon the floor. Someone on this ship is prepared to risk their life to stop us reaching Durenor." You both stare at the burned rags as if they hold the answer to your questions. Suddenly a cry from up on deck breaks the silence. "Ship ahoy! Off the port bow!" Grabbing his sword and telescope, the captain disappears through the door and up the ladder to the deck above. We could follow him, or search his cabin in his absence. Why would we search his cabin to steal things behind his back in his absence? He's been honourable and escorted us, as safely as he can so far. And if he has anything in his cabin that would be extremely helpful to our quest, it's either something personal of his that he values greatly, that he needs, or he would have probably given it to us anyway, unless he was told don't give this to him until he gets to land, which is a bit weird. So we'll just follow. If we were still trying to heal, so if we were injured trying to put up the fire, like if we stupidly went and opened the door and wandered in and go, "Oh, I wonder what all this smoke is coming out of here for," then spending a bit of time searching his room to try and recover health would be good. "It seems our bird has flown," says the captain, pointing to a longboat moving swiftly towards another ship on the horizon. "She flies no flag and her hull is of a strange shape, but I've ne'er before seen the like." You watch as the longboat reaches the mysterious ship. As if by magic, a sea fog appears from nowhere and engulfs the vessel. Moments later, both the ship and the fog have disappeared. I think we know who was on that ship, not who left this ship to get on it. Pick a random number. Another random roll. We get a 9. Wow, okay. Have we had too many 9s? 10, 9, 4, 8, 9. We do seem to be rolling a bit high. We may be getting sticky dice. I might have to clean them in a bit. Right. Well, we rolled 5 to 9. The crews start to whisper. You hear the words ghost ship and cursed voyage, but the muttering stops when the captain's voice booms out an order for all hands on deck. Only the creaking of the timbers can be heard as Captain Kelman climbs to the rear deck to address the crew. "Men, we're 3 days' sail from Port Bax. This fire has robbed us of our provisions, and our fresh water has been fouled. We shall have to steer a new course for Ragadorn, where we shall make good our repairs and replenish our stores. That is all." The crew seemed pleased by the captain's announcement and set about their duties with renewed vigour. So, let's see. We set out from Holmgard. We were saying to port back, so we're now going to have to stop at Ragadorn. I seem to remember there might be a choice of trying to sail from Ragadorn to port backs or travelling by land. And one of them... There's two big points in this book where we die if we do it wrong, right? I can't remember. I think we have to go by... One of them either has an auto kill on it. It's not a direct auto kill, but like a big auto kill. But I think we have to go on one of them and not the other to complete the quest. It's been many, many years. Additionally, up here, the mountain pass heading into the mountains, somewhere around here we need to find a specific item. If you've played this book before, you know what it is. If we don't get that item, we can absolutely get in and pick up the Sommerswerd, but we can't get back out to the coast to get on ships without that item. It's rough. Whatever, you know. It's harsh. So there's two nasty breakpoints in the adventure where we could mess up. Which means I'll probably stop the episode at Ragadorn because I've been playing for a bit of a while anyway. Then the captain turns to you. "We're about 8 hours from Ragadorn, my lord. My orders were to see you safely to port backs and pass you into the care of the sum-lending consul Lord Lieutenant Rygar. But time is not our ally, and I fear the repairs may take a week or more to complete. When we drop anchor, you will have to find your own route to Durenor, by sea, with us, or alone by the coast road, and we only have a 40-day time limit as well. As you return to your cabin, the king's words haunt your thoughts. 40 days, lone wolf. We only have strength to stand against them for 40 days. You do not have long to complete your dangerous mission." As dawn breaks, a fierce storm rises, and you are woken by the violent rocking of the ship. The floor of your cabin is awash, and the shouts of the crew can hardly be heard above the howling wind. You quickly dress, gather up your equipment, and make your way to the deck. You are soon joined by the captain, who takes hold of your arm and orders you to return to your cabin. Suddenly, as you start to go down, there is a thunderous crack as, high in the rigging, part of the mast snaps. You look up to see the shattered pole falling towards you. Oek. Let's roll. We got a 4. Oh god, is it an auto kill? We're not dead. You dive backwards, but only just in time to avoid the falling mast as it smashes straight through the deck. You stagger upright and peer into the mass of shattered timbers. Pinned beneath the broken mast is the lifeless body of Captain Kelman. As you stare in horror, a loud... Oh, fuck, have we lost everything? Have we lost the seal of Hammerdal in the water? Let's see. As you stare in horror, a loud crack fills the air as the storm breaks open the already damaged hull of the Green Scepter. As the ship breaks up, you are hurled over the side and into the raging sea. Gasping for air, you claw your way up to the surface, but strike your head on a hatch cover, lose 1 point of endurance, and pull yourself onto this makeshift raft. If you are wearing a chainmail waistcoat, you must discard this now or you will surely drown. Bugger! We really needed that. I have to struggle out of it. Ah, that's a real shame. I'm not sure. I think we can get one in book 3 or 4, and that's the last chance we get. In the grey light of the storm, you watch as the broken ship sinks beneath the heaving sea. You are feeling dizzy and very sick. Hanging on to the cover with all your strength, you gradually slip into unconsciousness. When you eventually awake, the storm has passed. The only trace of the Green Scepter is the hatch cover on which you lie. By the position of the sun, you suppose it to be late afternoon. In the distance, you see a small fishing boat, and beyond it, the coastline stretches out along the horizon. So no meals, no rations have been damaged. Not that we had any. You can use your cloak to try and signal the fishing boat. Try and ignore the boat and paddle towards the shore. No, we'll signal the fisherman. You desperately wave your Kai cloak above your head until you are near to exhaustion. Let's see how it goes. A 2? Oh, we are not having great rolls. Okay. You're in luck, for the boat has seen your distress signal and is headed towards you. Oh, we've had a couple of sections since that 1 point of damage, so we're fine. It is a small fishing boat from the port of Ragadorn. The fishermen are a rough-looking bunch, but they wrap you in a warm blanket and offer you some food. The captain suggests that you sleep, as it will be 2 or 3 hours before you arrive back in Ragadorn. We can take their advice. They might rob us and restore 1 endurance point, but we have already done that. We're at full health. We can stay awake and keep watch for any other survivors of the storm and keep watch on the other fishermen. It is nearly dark when the small fishing boat passes through the harbour entrance of Ragadorn. You have still seen no sign of survivors from the storm, and you fear the worst. You notice that 3 of the fishermen are acting very suspiciously. They whisper to each other, and their eyes often glance at your money pouch. As the boat sails into the estuary of the River Dawn, they surround you and demand that you hand over all your gold. You're about to fight them when an unexpected blow from behind knocks you to the deck. You see one of the fishermen raise his foot. As it strikes your head, suddenly everything fades into darkness. Bloody hell. Oh, for fuck's sake! We got a footnote. When you awake, you are shocked to find yourself lying beneath a wooden jetty, and the shallow water surrounding you fills your nostrils with a foul stench. As you stand, your head throbs violently as if you had been knocked unconscious. This is exactly what has happened to you. And your backpack, your gold, your backpack, your weapons, and all your special items, including the Seal of Hammerdale, have been stolen by the fishermen. Bloody hell. Look, we just had really bad. In the Collector's Edition, you do not lose any of your special items except for the Seal of Hammerdale. You may choose to follow these instructions instead. You know, I think I'll just bloody restart. I have had some terrible rolls on this voyage so far. And losing the Seal of Hammerdale is a real bugger because I'm not sure we get a chance to get it back. With a groan of despair, you climb out of the slimy water and pull yourself into the jetty. Looking up, you see a faded sign. Welcome to Ragadorn. You fear the rumours about this place are true. It is nearly dark and it has started to rain. You must find the seal if you are to persuade the Durenor to give you the Sommerswerd. Looking around, you see a large market square with a stone signpost in the centre, including the various roads that lead off the square. So, this is actually bad, right? We'll lose our sword, lose our axe, no problem, right? Lose all our money, no problem. Lose the Gaiac scroll and the healing potion, we can live without those. The Seal of Hammerdale, we must recover it. The shield, I don't think we can get another one. Honestly, there's maybe book 3, but that's about it. Bugger bollocks, basically. And the Crystal Star Amulet, I'd like to keep that and the map of Sommerland, purely because we are really, really shafted without those 2 items. While I want to just restart and get better dice rolls, I want to go as far as I can, right, currently, to see what sort of recovery options are available to me. Also, so that I'll know things to avoid next time, right? Search for the fishing boat. Well, they're probably not going to be in the boat, but there might be some clues as to... I do have tracking. Anyway, I'm going to leave this episode here. It's been most unfortunate, and hopefully, well, better luck next time, basically. But losing the Seal of Hammerdale is not a complete game over, but it comes pretty bloody close. Especially if you can't find it again. Losing everything else has really screwed us over, though, so I'm not happy about that. Right. I mean, what I could do is just re-record the whole bloody thing now, but I need to get this uploaded today. So, the voyage from Holmgard to Durenor to Ragadorn is very random, and it's not that if you roll badly, bad things will happen to you. It's that you get different experiences along the way. Yeah, I'm not happy about that. Oh well. Better luck next time, eh? Let me know in the comments section down below how you feel about how I got screwed over so badly right at the end there. And, yeah. What fun. Alright, bye for now, guys. So, no, wait. No. Before I go, I know what I'm going to do. Hang on. I'm going to pretend to be a stupid person and go like this. Right? Go on. Books. I mean, there's no shield after the Kai series, right? So we'll just quickly check our possibility of gaining another one. Is there... Sword, short sword. The padded waistcoat can stack with the chainmail waistcoat for +6 endurance points, which is epic. There is a magic helmet in book 3, which is very nice, but I don't think there's another shield. Honestly, losing that shield, bit of a bugger. Bit of a massive fucking bugger, basically. Book 4. I know we don't get to... The only shields are in beginning of book equipment sections, and they're only in the first 5 books, and there might be only one of them. I think there's a magic shield possibly later on, but I'm not certain on that. There's only about 4 proper magic items. I'm not counting like potions and consumables, but you know, there's not very many proper magic items in the whole series. There's a shield we can get in book 4. Okay, excellent. So I will keep the Brotherhood of the Crystal Star amulet, because we don't get another chance to get it. And it's a right bugger. Okay, well, we're being robbed by nasty fishermen. Wait, book 5. Book 5's a special one as well, by the way, when it comes to equipment. Yeah, let's just say that. Okay, well, I possibly got the worst final result from the journey there. Maybe... Okay, there's a shield in book 5 as well. That's good. Maybe I can be more fortunate in the next episode. I think if we'd rolled the other result, the fishermen would have still seen us, but they wouldn't have decided to rob us. Maybe, you know. Ooh. Perhaps if we'd gone to sleep, they would have only taken our money and not taken the other things. Oh well. I suppose we get to find out next time, eh? Well, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll look forward to see you all next time. Just don't get robbed by sailors or fishermen. It's really nasty.